So this was in 2020, August. The world was still in a COVID-19 global pandemic. But in August, the restrictions in Ghana had been just lifted a bit, but the protocols were still in place. So people could go to work a bit. Schools were, of course, shut down. I was working mixed, sort of a hybrid schedule. Some days at home, some days in the office. So on the 11th of August, which was a Tuesday in 2020, I was working from home that day. So I just woke up in the morning, just doing normal stuff, getting ready for work. Of course, I wasn't going to go to the office. I was working from home. So I was behind my computer, sending emails, doing PowerPoint presentations, the normal day-to-day activities, getting on phone calls and all that. Around midday, it was, time for me to get some lunch. I'd already taken out a pot of stew from my freezer to thaw in the morning. So in the afternoon, it was time for me to go and warm it up. I made my way to the kitchen, turned on the gas stove, and put the pot of stew on fire, or at least that's what I thought I'd done. Then for some reason, I had to go back to the hall. I think I'd received a call. I was just going to check on something, but I left. So yeah, I went to the hall, finished what I needed to do, then came back to the kitchen. Upon entering the kitchen, I opened the kitchen door and I just saw a flame of fire come at me. Most of it was blue, covered by the orange flame. And that was the last memory I had of that.
I was in this house and talking to my neighbor, Rita, over the wall. And after a while, she indicated to me that she's going to have a bath. And so she went inside. We heard a boom, very loud bang.
I actually thought it was one of the developers' trucks that hit one of the houses in our estate. So I rushed out, picked the first thing in front of me, wore it, and then rushed out. As I was approaching my gate, I noticed my neighbor to the left was coming out with his family, and the neighbors after Pierre's house to my right were also walking towards their gate. So I asked my neighbor to the left if he heard the sound, and obviously he said that's the reason why they're outside. I got to my gate and realized I had left the remote in my room. So I turned around, and that's when I saw Pierre coming out.
And when I saw her, I thought she asked me, "Are you okay?" That's what I think I remember hearing her ask. And I said, "I think I need to go to the hospital." At that time, I wasn't thinking much had happened. As I said earlier, I only just remember seeing the flame and getting up and leaving. So I didn't think there was anything really critical. I just suggested a hospital as a precautionary measure, because I just thought I'd come in touch with fire. Let's just go to the hospital, make sure there's everything is okay, just as a precautionary measure. So I remember her saying, "Okay, that's fine." So she entered her room to get her car keys, and I made my way to my gate to open the gate and get out and then go into her place. So when I got to the gate and I took my hand to the lock to try and open it, then I saw part of my skin peeling off. Then I realized, oh, okay, this is a bit more serious than I thought.
And I saw white powder all over him. I honestly said to myself that, what now? Like, where has he been? Maybe it's a church thing. They've asked him to pour powder on him or something. But I didn't ask him. I actually did see his mouth moving. So at some point I went to him. I said, "Pierre, did you hear the bang?" And he was mumbling. And I went, "Did you hear the bang? Did you hear the thing?"
So whilst I was outside there, I all of a sudden remembered people I'd seen who had burn scars on their face. And of course, this was when the gravity of what had happened was dawning on me. So I was wondering, hey, is my face going to look like these guys? How is my face going to look like? Well, then Rita opened her gate eventually. I went through the gate, opened the door, the back seat of the car, lay down there myself. She backed out of her driveway, got onto the main road. Then she said she couldn't go alone, so she called another man, another neighbor of ours. This was her neighbor to the right, an older man, Mr. Baffo.
So I reversed, and then I said to myself, no way I'm doing this by myself. What if anything happens to him on our way to the hospital? So I called out to the older gentleman, to my neighbor, to join us, and he did. He went to change and joined us. On our way to the hospital, he told us to send him to Nyaho because he's got medical insurance there.
So we went to Rita's house, and then placed Pierre in the back seat for him to be very comfortable, and Rita drove off.
Don't remember if she'd forgotten or not, but I think she said she didn't know the place. So whilst I was lying at the back, I gave the directions to go to the hospital. And I don't know why, but when I got in the back seat of her car, I started praying. I was praying in tongues, I was singing songs, I was telling them to join me in it.
Sing, I said. He said yes. I looked at Rita. Rita was not in the mood to sing. And I said, no, let us pray.
He started singing hymns and asked us to join him. He was talking a lot. He was asking me to look at him and describe him and what he looked like.
Pierre, for me, at every stage that I tend to look at him, looked darker than, anytime I look at him, look darker, anytime. So it was something was really happening. I didn't know exactly what.
At some point, I did turn around and told him he was growing darker than I know him to be. But my neighbor asked me to stop describing him because I don't think he thinks it's a good thing. So we just went along with everything he was saying.
And I remember at some point as well, I could smell myself. Like in Ghana, when people kill, I go to the, roast it a bit to get the hair off. And there's a smell it has. And that was the smell I smelled of myself. So we got to Nyaho Hospital, medical center, sorry. I made my way out of the back seat of Rita's car. This was by myself. Got into a wheelchair, eventually got transferred onto a stretcher. Whilst I was there, I still remember singing, telling the nurses to join me in that and all that.
The Benz was so heavy that whilst even in the hospital, some kind of heat is within him. That is almost, let me use the word, cooking him.
And then the doctor came in to me and he said, well, he realized there was no hair in my nose. So he suspects that I've inhaled some of the heat. And they don't have the capacity to deal with that kind of injury. So he's going to transfer me to another hospital where they have the capacity to deal with that.
The ambulance took us to Kolebu. Apparently, before going, she has given her mother's number and they've called. So as soon as we got to Kolebu, we got a message, a call on Rita's phone, which was the mother, trying to find out exactly where we were in Kolebu.
When we got there, I remember my mom came and spoke to me. I really don't remember what she said. I just know she came by me and said something. So I was transferred onto another stretcher, put in front of the male bench ward at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. And this was the National Reconstructive Plastic Surgery and Bench Unit. So I was there on the stretcher and, doctors, nurses came and were asking me all sorts of questions to understand my situation.
When I saw Pierre, the first thing that occurred to me was, God, have mercy upon us. We are not ready to bury Pierre now. He's too young, and the mother should not lose an only child. So Lord, have mercy upon us and grant Naomi the strength to be able to go through this tragedy and grant us the resources that we will be able to supply everything that was required.
I saw him, he was all blistered, he was darker than me because it was all blisters. His face and everywhere, but I know him, so I recognized him when we could talk. So his eyes were not, he was not blind anyway.
Being pulled from the trolley, Pierre is a dark gentleman, dark in complexion, color and everything else. But he was darker because he was all burnt from his head to his toes. And he couldn't move much, he wasn't talking. It was like a still body being moved. Even though we couldn't stay with him long because he was one of the fortunate ones to be brought in and immediately be prepared to the theater.
So I was wheeled to the theater, and at some point in time, I remember telling the nurses to, let's just hold hands and pray.
So Pierre came in as a young man who had sustained burns from a domestic gas incident. And he came in with almost about 40% total body surface area burn. That's 40% of your body surface area gone. But more importantly, he had inhalation injury. In our part of the world, burns that are usually beyond 30%, pose a lot of risk to us. We know the survival is not too good with such kind of people. If you draw a survival curve for such patients, usually those with burns between 25 to 30 have a 50% chance of surviving. Then beyond that, now you realize that the curve of survival starts, and going down, meaning that the chances, slim. Beyond 40, the chance of survival is virtually getting to zero from there. So that was quite a difficult situation for us. And the fact that he had inhaled some gases, because that poses another major risk. In resuscitating him, we need to be able to take care of his airways. And once he's inhaled hot gases that are also nauseous, they cause a lot of damage, a lot of swelling, in the airways, erythema, sometimes a sloughing of the tissues there. That can block the airways, more especially as they track down. There's going to be a lot of oozing that goes further down into the smaller airways. And as they go to the much smaller airways, they can block them. And the risk of death is much higher.
At midnight, I woke up in the ICU. Well, I didn't know it was the ICU then, but I woke up with a medical officer and a nurse standing by me, who I could see they were standing in front of me. And I asked them to read me a bedtime story. I don't know why I asked them to do that, but I remember doing that. And just for clarity, I never had bedtime stories read to me as a child.
So Pierre on the ventilator was very critical. And Pierre was managed on the ventilator for close to 3 weeks, intubated and ventilated. We have to extubate, re-intubate, extubate, re-intubate about 3 or 4 times, yes, during his admission. So that tells you how critical it was on the ventilator with regard to Pierre's condition.
So physiotherapy was supposed to help me do exercises with my limbs and the various joints to improve the flexibility. And whilst I was there, I was also warned that with burns cases, it puts the body in a shock. And if you don't exercise, the joints could get stiff and you would lack mobility again.
Well, the biggest physical challenge was to get Pierre to move by himself, to be able to stand and to be able to walk, because he was in so much pain, so much pain, that he felt that, no, if my pain goes away or my wounds heal, I'll just get back to my normal self. But unfortunately, that's not the story for burn patients. We need to work through their pain. Even though a lot of pain meds are given, procedural pain meds are given so they can be able to tolerate wound dressings, physiotherapy management, and any other procedure that needs to be done. Our most difficult one was to get independence from him because he felt that his therapist was rushing him. He didn't really know the intent of why we had to do that, because the more days we wait and waste, the more stiffness develops and the more contractures set in. And that was my biggest challenge with him.
He had to be on the ventilator. We've taken care of his breathing and all that. But there are also issues with the use of the ventilator for protracted periods. At a point, you would like to extubate him, to take him off the ventilator, take out the tube, but you may have to do a trial. I think we had more than one incident where taking out the tube and monitoring him became very scary because his parameters were really not good. And on such occasions, we had to go back, put him back on the vent again so that we can be sure we were good to go. Surgically, we did several sessions of skin grafts, like I mentioned, but then some of them we had issues with the graft. We lost a bit of the graft in some areas. Then the donor site, the skin donor site, where we took the skin from, also at a point wasn't healing. I mean, those were quite critical moments for us because you would want the wound you created to heal. We expected to heal within about 3 weeks, but some of them took longer than that, and that became a source of worry because we wanted the opportunity to go back to take more and more skin and graft the other areas.
Also, there are other challenges. The wound itself, we have to do the wound dressing every other day, and that involves a lot of financial input. The money aspect, it wasn't easy. And then the other drugs, the labs that came in, the other, all together, the food, involving all other health team to manage, it was quite challenging.
His mother was really up to the task. Bear management is financially draining. I won't lie to you.
Unfortunately for Pierre and I, even though we were like siblings, or we still are like siblings, I had to be very, very tough with his physiotherapy. And interestingly, Pierre's mom is a physiotherapist as well. So you can imagine the dosage of physio he used to have to go through in a day. After I have come to do my bit, the mother doesn't also allow him to sleep at all. And she also puts her best as a caregiver for her son to make sure that we overcome all the physical challenges that burns could lead to a patient.
I never for a while thought of death, even though situations were bad. He was telling me of when he could see he was dying. And he prayed because, you see, having been there, sometimes the intubator, he was on ventilator, so the machine was being, sometimes the intubation, the tube that goes in, it gets blocked by phlegm. You see, because it's in the chest. And then the oxygen may be on, but it doesn't get it. So they call the anesthetist. Dr. Kwame, bless your soul. Kwame will come and efficiently change the tube, and then because he could see the ventilator and he could see air was not getting into him. I didn't panic because when I panic, Pierre will see or think he's dying. So I didn't, because patients look at you, they read you more than you read them.
29 September or 28 September, around 1:30, when we all had the news that Pierre has finally been transferred to the ward, moved out of the ICU. We all jubilated, we all celebrated because it's a success story.
Pierre would tell me that, you know what, I have already done this and I wanted to prove to you I can do it. Those were my happiest moments because he was going through so much pain, so much challenges, that even that zeal to break through the pain and to do an activity and to tell me that he wanted to make me happy was just so exciting. So there could be days that I would get into the ICU and Pierre would quickly reach out for a bottle of water and try to drink it by himself. And he says that, you see, I'm doing it myself because I don't want you to come forcing me to do it. And that got me excited because even though I knew he was going through so much to get it done, he was self-motivated.
Pierre became a family, and then his human relationship. He wasn't just a patient, but he was a patient that is ready to interact with the staff. So at the end of the day, when he was discharged, you are still a family. He will call 1 or 2 times to ask how you are doing. He will tell you, I'm here. Then we are all happy when we see him or hear about him.
Pierre, we must thank Pierre's God. Whichever God he serves must be thanked for contributing so much, because he was such a strong-willed person. Because people stay in the ICU for a while, they tend to have some psychotic moments, and the stress of the trauma alone can weigh them down. And all these things have a way they impact on how people survive in such situations. And his willingness to live was too strong. I think that was a very good character. He would pray on the word, he would be reading the scriptures as well, so hopeful, interacting with everybody in a very good way. I mean, there was a lot of hope. He wasn't somebody you have to really encourage. He was actually encouraged by himself, and that was a good thing. And I thank God for his recovery.
Anytime Rita is able to accost me, he says, "Imami ke ingabo," meaning the mother says, "Good morning," or whatever, greetings. From that, if Rita tells me the mother says ingabo, how I pray that she should leave it there and not go beyond the ingame. So about 2 weeks, knowing good bad news, before I started really knowing that yes, we are in very stable condition.
Him going through it strong, doesn't even act like he's got burns and stuff. I was very worried for him. I would like to say that I was more worried for him because I'm like, he's a young guy, and in terms of girlfriend and stuff, I'm thinking, my brain has been going, I'm like, oh my God, I wish I had a girlfriend before this incident, because I don't know what this burns would do to him. To me, it would kind of like leave a scar, a mark. He might not have confidence to talk to people and stuff like that. But it's been the opposite. I don't even think he sees his scars. I don't even think he sees anything. He doesn't. We talk like normal. So I think at some point in his recovery, when he moved back home, I just said to him that I really do admire you. And he said, why? I said, because you're so positive. Like, it's as if nothing happened. This has not even deterred you. You are not talking or acting like, oh, now I have burn scars, so, people won't like me, No, he's working, he's traveling, he's himself. And that says a lot. And I guess it's all about his faith, his Christian life, his, the God we all serve, but he serves it more than I do. It's taught me a lot, to be honest. I don't think I could recover as much as he has.
We are indeed blessed. Dynam Hamilton has a song, Adom or Grace. And when you read the lyrics, in one stanza, it says, we have been through a lot, but God's grace sustained us. Another stanza says, my test is now my testimony. And it aptly describes what we have been through and Pierre has been through. May God's name be praised and may his name be glorified forever. Amen.
I had a scripture as well that someone gave to me. It says, I will make you well again. I will heal your wounds. It's in the book of Jeremiah, and this was God talking to Israel in a poetic format. But when I took that scripture, I didn't have time for poetic or translations or biblical commentaries or cultural settings. I just said, God says he will make me well again, and I believe he will make me well. God said he will heal my wounds. For crying out loud, I had wounds, so I needed them healed. And I took that word for what it was. There is no situation so dire that God cannot get you out of. There is no depth you can sink to that God cannot reach out and get you out of. There is nothing impossible for God. So I'm sure after listening to this, you are very curious, you have questions in your mind, you want to know more. You've heard what my family, my friends, the medical professionals have said, and you want to know more about this. Well, I thought of you in advance, so that's why I put it in the book, The Stench of Good News. You'll get to know more about it in The Stench of Good News. The reason is to encourage you, is to encourage people out there, is to tell people that, there's nothing too impossible for God to do. Now, maybe your situation is different. You are not bent like me, but if you walk on the surface of the earth and you are in this class called life, there are ups and downs. There are times when you think it's impossible. There are times when you think this is the end of it. That is why you need this book. You might have a family member, a loved one who is in the hospital, who is dying. In this book, you will find certain things that people did to help me out, because I have my reflections there as well. And you will get something out of it that will help you make it through. That's why you need to buy this book. Just follow the links below, pay attention to it, you will get it. My name is Pierre Kuma. I'm a burn survivor, and this is my story.